She was just starting to teach, doing her student teaching when I was a freshman at KU. And so, I mean, her first job, she was paid the immense amount, this is 1993, at $17,000. And she's still a Catholic, now she's a Catholic school principal. But she's been tirelessly devoted to Catholic education. She went to St. Matthew's grade school, she went to Hayden High School, and then came back and she's given her whole life, I mean, first as a mother and a wife to her 4 children, but also to the Catholic schools in Topeka. And her husband are, they are technologically savvy, and that's why I asked them here. I did this in Parsons. I had them come a couple times because, as you know, in 3 years we're going to there'll be a whole different landscape of what technology is doing. And so they're not technologically negative, so they're not going to tell you to go home and throw everything in the garbage, but they're going to give you some things that can help you to have a safe home with internet and with devices. And that's why they're here, because they know and are very much up to date with what's happening. And they have the ability to help teach other people to have control of what's coming into their home. And so we'll start with a prayer, and then I'll turn it over to Andrea. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for all your gifts, especially the gift of your Son, Jesus Christ, in whose name our schools exist, and in whose name we seek to form our children. We ask you to send the Holy Spirit upon Andrea and Sean as they share with us their wisdom this evening, and we entrust all our cares into the hands of Our Lady with the Memorare. Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thy intercession, was left unaided. Inspired by this confidence, I fly unto thee, O Virgin of Virgins, my Mother. To thee I come, before thee I stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of the Word incarnate, despise not my petitions, but in thy mercy hear and answer me. Amen. Saint Clare,
pray for us.
Venerable Father Capon,
Pray for us.
Eternal rest grant unto the faithful departed, O Lord. May they rest in peace.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Right. You know, he only didn't say anything bad about me because he knew I got the microphone after him. That's right, that's right. So I am so excited to be here tonight. So I'm Andrea Hillebert from Topeka, Kansas, where this is year 33 for me in education, 25 as a principal. So, and we have 4 children. And this is my husband, Sean, who all the way down here, we talked about the many things he was going to say at this mic. And then all of a sudden we walk in and he's like, I think you've got it. But we may tap him. He's far more technologically savvy than I am. So there'll come a time we probably want to tap him. When we talk about this is a no shame, no blame presentation. I'm a both and leader all the time. I think we live in an either or society that says things like either faith or reason. It's both faith and reason. Either rigor or relationships. We're talking about education. It's rigor and relationships. And sometimes when it comes to technology, you find people who are like, we're all in or we're all out. No, we're in with a crazy reasonability check on that. So tonight, just by the fact that you showed up and you're willing to listen and think about things and think about the things that you're doing right, because we're going to start with the things that you're doing right, and then we're going to build on those, because that's how we do. We identify what we're doing well as parents, and then we take that next step to build on them. So, you will not have to be a technology guru. I mean, clearly I'm not. You will not have to be a technology guru to follow this. We're going to do what is a very, very, very layered approach. And I know there have got to be some of you out there that are like, you're pretty old to be talking to us about technology. And you are correct. I am pretty old to be talking to you about technology. But luckily we have 4 kids who have kept us young. They're ages 20 to ages 19, almost 20, to 29. And we can tell you the rapid fire changes that happened as in that 10-year span for technology and how we navigated them. Maybe it'll be useful for you as well. I think I'm ready for that next one. Communication is key. If you came here tonight and you're hoping that there is a thing that I can have you go out and download and all of a sudden your child will be safe on the internet, don't I wish. Don't I wish. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. So, and that can be a good and a bad. Because the good is that it's the things that you're already doing in every other realm that work. Communication is key. Now, I don't know what age you're talking about for your phones and stuff like that, but I can tell you, when I first started giving this presentation so many years ago, people said to me, how do I know when my child is ready for a phone? And my response was always, when you have time to manage their tech. And it is mind-numbing as you're going through their social media and things like that. We had one daughter who was really into baby bunnies. Oh my gosh. And it was just mind-numbing, scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. But we had to do it because we had to know. But last summer when I was talking to my own parents at the school where I'm the principal, I changed my answer. And hear me when I say, this is what I believe to be true now. If you're asking me, when's the right time for your child to have a phone, it is when you are ready for their childhood to be over. That is true. I'm not judging anybody whose kids have a phone. My kids got phones when they were 13. There's no, as I said, there's no shame, there's no blame, there's no judgment. But if you're asking me, that's when it is. It's a lot. And sometimes I'll be walking down at, Walmart or something like that, and I watch a parent hand their 2-year-old their phone. And like everything I can do, not to run over there and just slap that right out of their hands, because you're not allowed to do things like that, you guys, you cannot do that. But, because it's a mistake. It's a huge mistake. We'll come back to brain research and stuff like that and why it's a mistake, but let's talk about, you've made the decision, doesn't matter what kind of technology you're allowing in your home, from things as simple as a TV, all the way up to your smartphones, smartwatches, all the stuff. Communication is key. It is the foundation of everything you do as a parent. The hardest part about the steps, and we're going to give you steps because people like to have those, like to have action steps. We're going to give you action steps. The hardest part about them is the thought that has to go into them, the intentionality. You are going to have to sit down with your children, with your spouse, and decide, how does this fit into our family? And it probably is going to have to fit into your family. How does it fit into our family? So, you need to be reviewing your house rules for TV, movies, games. There should be rules for that. The same principles will apply for cell phones, computers, tablets, smartwatches. And then the biggest one, and I know this is really, really hard for some people as parents, and I just want to bolster you. No judgment, I want to bolster you. Establish consequences with your child. And if they test the boundary, they're asking you, they're begging you. Apply the consequences. Repeat. You have to. Not even once. I heard this, if you haven't read the book, Shifting the Monkey, you should. It's 86 pages, it's a super quick read. And once you see it, you'll realize, oh my gosh, this is what kids do all the time. They try to shift the monkey off of their back and onto yours. And so they're going to tell you something about how they will never have friends. They'll be completely disconnected. I don't really know, but it'll be something like that. Something really, really, really big. But the reality is this, and this is true. It's true. You're going to sit down, you're going to have a conversation, you're going to be so clear, you're going to model it, you're going to show them, you're going to do all the stuff, right? And then it really boils down to this with our children, and I love children. My whole life is about kids. Love them. And my kids at Mater Dei, my knights will tell you that Mrs. Hillebert will look at them and say, My angel. It's never good when I say that. I said, my angel. I said, you either don't know or you don't care. Which one is it? Did you not know the expectation? Because if so, if you don't know it, we're going to work through it. But if you know, then it's you just didn't care as much as you cared about whatever other thing was going on. And that's okay, but there's a consequence for that. It really is that simple. If you've got teenagers yet, and they're testing you with that phone thing, it's that simple. I'm not talking about your little ones just getting started. I'm talking about your teenagers with some experience. They either don't know or they don't care. Or they don't think you can catch them. One of those things. So today, we've got in our layered approach to internet safety, we're going to go with communication, awareness, and monitoring. It's those 3 steps. Communication, awareness, and monitoring. So let's go ahead and be ready for the next one. Ground rules. Okay, these are non-negotiables, whether it's the family computer, whether it's gaming, whether it's, obviously whether it's phones, whether it's, we don't share passwords except with our parents. I gotta tell you, no judgment, I'm just telling you what I think I observe. We're terrible about that. I do not want to raise of hands, I do not want anybody looking down, but I'm gonna ask you this question. How many of you have shared your password with your child? Don't make any, no, I'm not even making eye contact. Look, I'm not even looking, okay? Not even looking. That's gonna be the first thing I ask you to do tonight. Just change your password. They have no business having access to what you have access to. I know everybody's like, oh, can we leave already? I'm tired of this lady already. But it's not just about these passwords. Because see, everything that we do as parents has to be consistent and it has to be part of what we do. So for example, we do not, I would tell my kids, please don't give out our alarm code. Please don't give out the code to our house. Please don't give out my ATM code. Don't give out your ATM code, even though you have no money. Don't give out anything like that. Don't give out your passwords. Don't give out your locker combination. What we don't do that. Don't hold people's luggage in an airport. Do not do this. Don't. It's not okay. It's not acceptable. I know. You and little Susie are best friends forever. Until you're not. So a true story that really did happen to one of our alumni. One of our alumni went on to high school, had girlfriends, all good. Of course, she's on the phone. Things take a turn for the south. She gets on and she sends some pretty negative stuff out to the entire student body of Topeka High School. That is hard to roll that back in. Because it looked like it came from our alumni. And it's like, that's what it looks like, because it's your account, because you gave her your password. Don't do that. And then I'm going to ask you something just really, 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 really simple. Would you hand the keys of your car to the children and just hope it all works out? Probably would not. They're not trained on that. And you think to yourself, oh my gosh, they can really hurt themselves. They can really hurt themselves online. They can hurt others, they can hurt themselves. So, but ground rules for them have to be, they're not allowed to share their passwords. Now they're going to, and as soon as they do, you have to apply whatever consequence you guys talked about. You have to do it. I understand they will be a social outcast, never have any friends again. Everybody else is sharing their passwords. Yeah, nope. That's back to them. That's just them shifting the monkey. They either don't know the rule or they don't care. Never share personal information. It is this easy. And in Topeka, Kansas, there's only 2 schools that have knights as their mascot. So every time our kids post something in our wear, in our spirit wear, in our school wear, in our uniforms for sports and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I want them to, I have no trouble with them doing that, but they just need to know. There's only 2 schools you could come from. If somebody wanted to find you, they've narrowed down to only 2 places where you could be. They're sharing personal information without even thinking about sharing personal information. And again, I'm not technology averse. I just think sometimes they would tell you that they're locked down. It's like, you are not. You are not. And they're children, so that's okay. It matters that they know, but it matters that we know. It matters that we know. This next one's a toughie. Create usernames that do not reveal your identity. That one's hard because there's a point in their life where that has to switch. And we do need usernames that reveal their identity, like when they're applying to colleges and things like that. At that point in time, you know, either Big Gamer 2025 or SeymourButts@gmail.com, those are not going to be the right choice at that time, right? But, I mean, they're okay now, but they're not going to be, there's a point at which they need to go to something that has, you know, first name, last initial, or last name, first initial, or whatever it's going to be. But when they first start out, I need to not be Andrea Hillebert 11270 @gmail.com. Because that's a whole lot of information I just rolled right out to you. And kids will do that because they can remember it. But anyway, we got to work with them on the usernames. And then it cannot be said enough, and I know people think this is just old school, because back in the day you would worry about a chat room. Everything's a chat room now. Everything's a chat room. Everything's a chat room. So they can never agree to meet somebody that they've met online. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what that looks like with online stranger danger kind of stuff. That'll be kind of the icky part of what we do tonight, just because I think that I need to make sure that I don't leave you not knowing this information. Ground rules, part 2. It is your job to specify what is acceptable. So I'm going to give you like in the last one we talked about things we don't want them to do. Don't share passwords. Don't be identifiable. Don't meet a stranger. Okay, now we got to do the other side, which is what can you do? Since we've already established that as parents we're taking away all the fun things they can do, what can we do now that we're left on here, okay? These were the rules for our kids. They have to be the rules for your kids. The rules for your kids. I'm just giving you some ideas. These were the rules for our kids. They could post anything that was funny, inspirational to them, or that they were proud of. I had a few daughters, 2 of my daughters ran track. If they had a good track meet and you wanted to post that, you're allowed to post that. You are never allowed to weigh in when one of your friends is complaining about their parents, teachers, coaches, principal, whoever it might be that they're complaining about. You're not allowed to weigh in on that for 2 reasons. 1, you probably only know one side of that story. I guess it's 3 reasons. 2, you do not have a lot to contribute. I know you think you do, but you don't. And 3, so often today, and this is something I really need for you to know, so often today we live in a world that tells kids that the only way to be empathetic beyond sympathetic is to like really relate to the other person. So here's what happens. You get, I'm just going to go with Susie and Jenny. I hope nobody here is named Susie or Jenny and is offended by this. But Susie starts complaining about how her mom just does not understand her. And Jenny's like, yeah. So then Jenny has to one-up Susie on the, well, I hear what you're saying, but you know, my mom she did this. And then Jenny's like, I know. And then my mom did this. And then my mom, and so what we had was, we had Jenny drowning. And then Susie jumped right in. And now I have 2 people drowning. Because kids today do not understand that the way to help is, I got to have one of you stand on the shore and try to throw the lifeline. Both of you in it. While that feels like empathy, that feels like a non-judgment, safe space that you like to call it, it's not. It's just 2 people drowning now. This is the way that they communicate sometimes. We have to know. So, that for us at our house, that was a big deal. You're not allowed to weigh in. You're not allowed to jump in. I need for you to keep some distance so that you can actually be the friend that they need. The appropriate language rules in your home extend to the World Wide Web. That is true, because there's a whole lot of anonymous courage going on out there with kids, right? And we just told our kids, if you have to read it out loud to your grandma, are you going to be okay with that? Because that's what we're using as our metric for appropriate language. Now, this last one is old school, and you don't have to do it. Unless you need that accountability. So, agree and sign a family safety contract. If you think that you have a future lawyer in your house who's going to want to debate it, then you should get it written down for them. If you know that they're not going to question you because they're going to know that they were busted, you may not have to write it down. But the ground rules are the ground rules. And they're not the ground rules about just the internet. They're the ground rules for, this is the way we will be communicating as a family. Just so that extended out in our house. So if we've got one kid, let's just say we'll go with our oldest daughter is Darian. Let's just say Darian was in trouble. We can say that because Darian was never in trouble, right? But there are the other two probably were. So we can say it was Darian. If Darian was in trouble, Brandon, Natalie, you can listen to your sister. You're not allowed to weigh in. You don't know. I know you think you know because you know everything, but you don't know. And so that's not just an internet rule. That's a rule. So anything that you have in your house that is the way that you expect your children to behave, we're just going to build right on that. It's the same. There's no difference. There's no in-person versus virtual rules. The rules are the rules are the rules. We also had two more rules. This one's a toughie, and I'm going to make Mr. Hillebert speak to that in a minute, but I know, they're thinking. We do not allow our children, you can decide for yourselves, we do not allow them, did not, they're older now, they're adults now, did not allow them to location tag themselves. The bulk of your internet apps, your social media apps now that kids would use, like Snap, TikTok, they default to geotagging. Which would be one thing if your child didn't have 800 followers. And it's like, you have to ask yourself, do you know 800 people? Do I know the 800 people you think you know? Before you geotag yourself. And just tell everybody where you're at. It's crazy. That is crazy to me. We did not allow that. We also tried to help the whole world out, really, by telling our children, nobody cares what you had for lunch. Nobody needs a picture of it. Nobody cares if you're in line at McDonald's getting ready to order the number 2 with Dr. Pepper. Nobody cares. Please do not post that stuff. Nobody wants to see it. I don't want to see it. I'm not going to like it if I see it. I try to like all my kids' stuff, you know. I'm not liking that. As a matter of fact, not only am I not liking it, I'm going to troll you on social media if you post that stuff. Because, no. And furthermore, with the algorithm, the ever-popular algorithm and stuff like that, every bit of that stuff that they share about themselves, like they like the number 2 at McDonald's and the Dr. Pepper, is just one more thing somebody knows about your kid. And there's a point at which that becomes creepy at best and scary at worst. We'll come back to that. Lots to look forward to. What's next? Oh, ground rules for life. We're Catholic families, or we send our children to Catholic school. We don't just do things because I don't want you to get, kidnapped or anything like that because of your internet. We do things because it's right. Our Christianity does not get turned off when we log on. We won't be cheating, lying. We won't be mean. We're not going to bully others. We're going to inform an adult if you see bullying behavior. This is the part that second bullet. Boy, that's just a tough bullet all the way around. In person, online. How do kids learn when it's tattling versus when you really did need to read an adult into this situation? You know what I mean? And at first, they'll do maybe a lot more tattling, which is okay. Like every time your kid tattles, I get it, we have to redirect that. Dudes, I'm a principal, okay? I could tell you things that happened in my building today that you would be shocked, okay? Shocked at what was going on. And we want to redirect that while at the same time, never making them think that reading an adult in is a mistake. That's tough. And they really struggle here. They struggle here because it's like, well, I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't know if they really meant it or not. Right. Well, sadly, if you say it, write it, text it, message it, whatever it is you do, you did it. That's another tough lesson to learn. You need to be there to see it. Okay. I have to look and see if I make sure I'm looking at myself here. All right, okay, kids. I love kids. Kids do not, these are their arguments. These are their arguments. I love kids because at first they're not very good at arguing, and they bring weak arguments. And that's what I love about them, right? Then they'll get better arguments, but these are the weak ones. I like this one when they say something to you like this. You do something like, you're like, hey, like you get on their phone or on their computer, on their tablet, and they say something like this. I love when they say something like this, or like, you're invading my privacy. Right. Did you post it? Then I think it's a little late to be worried about your privacy, okay? It's endlessly forwardable. I mean, kids can take screenshots so quick these days. Like, I'm kind of slow at it still because I need 2 fingers. I don't really understand how they do it on the one side. And they're taking screenshots the second they get something. Doesn't matter if it disappears. They can still forward it because they have it on their phone. I like when kids say, well, they don't know it's me because I've hidden behind SeymourButts@gmail.com, and they don't know it's me. Because 3 of them, I'm Seymour Butts 213, because there's so many of us out there. You're not anonymous. And it wouldn't matter if you were. Anonymity is always a good time to pull out for your students, your children. You're not anonymous to the audience of one that is our Lord. So don't roll that argument by me, because that's not the way that we're going to do it. And then this one here, what you do today can be abused by someone else tomorrow, the day after, the day after, the day after, the day after. You finally think you lived down, like you said something mean, like I said something mean to little Susie online. She was very hurt. I apologize. I've worked to repair the relationship, There's nothing that says that 6 months from now somebody else isn't going to send it out again, and little Susie's going to think it's me doing it again. She's not going to think it's from the last time. She's going to think I'm still doing it. Reopens up the hurt. It's pretty significant. And I have to tell you, as somebody who hires people, it's the first thing I do when I get an application for a sub, when I get an application for somebody to come to our school, when I get an application for somebody to teach. I'm checking your socials. The idea that people don't look it up is naive. I got nothing on that one except it's naive. They can track you, think carefully. Okay, we're up to our first parent to-do list. I know, it's not going to be easy, might not be popular. This is what I think. If you want to really make changes, I think if you're worried and you want to make changes at your house, here's what you need to do. This is what I think. Now, I know we don't know each other very long, so we don't have a big trust relationship, but this is what I think. The first thing I want you to do is read the fine print. If your child has a phone, a tablet, a smartwatch, whatever, you need to read the fine print and find out if their location services are on. That's the first thing I'd be finding out. Every time they take a picture, is it saying where they were at and what time and what day it was, and is it tagging it right there? I'd get that turned off if it was me. Now, you might say to yourself, I don't know how to turn it off. Okay, luckily, you can get online. Because I always think to myself, we should have a follow-up where we have everybody bring their stuff in and we start going through it. And just, I mean, not that I want to go through your stuff in an appropriate way. Anyway, but, and start helping people get that set up. But it's on there. You can literally look it up online and be like, hey, how do I find out if Instagram has the location services turned on my phone? Practice on your phone, then practice on theirs. Disappearing messages, this is a new one. You know, it used to be a Snapchat thing only. You know, I think we all know that Snapchat, the pictures disappear after a certain amount of time. You know, a lot of people don't know that in August of 2016, Snapchat made it so that if you have ever received a photo, Mr. Hillebert has ever sent me a photo on Snapchat, I can just go buy it for $1. So all of the times when you're in college, but under 21, you know, you think it's my Snapchat, nobody will be able to see. They can see. And they've been able to see for almost 10 years. Like, I'm not even gonna ask anybody, but people just don't even know that. They're like, it's Snapchat, it goes away. Okay, no it doesn't. Snapchat doesn't go away. And now Instagram has added the option for you, this is fairly new, I think since this summer. Instagram has added the option that you can have your messages disappear after a certain amount of time. Yuck, I don't like that. Google your child's name. When we first Googled our children's name, if we started to tell people to Google their children's name, where we would mostly see it is something school related, or when it was their turn to serve, altar servers, because the bulletins are published and they would snake through and grab their names. Not a lot of pictures and stuff like that, but you need to Google your child's name, if for no other reason than to make sure nobody's grabbed their information. And I mean, identity theft is real. We're not going to talk a lot about it tonight, but you should Google your child's name fairly regularly. You should Google your name fairly regularly. Make sure that what's out there is what you want out there. Then this is the part that I thought would be hard. Use parental controls on electronic devices. Everybody's like, I don't even know what those words mean, okay? Well, if you bought the phone, and by bought the phone, I mean it's your plan. Sometimes kids are like, they made me pay for the phone. Yeah, still, the rules still apply. The rules still apply. There are parental controls that you can put on their devices. Controls like this. This device will only work between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. And then it will turn off. Their phones can be that way. Their computers can be that way. Their tablets can be that way. You cannot add an app that I don't approve. And I won't be approving the app until I see it, until I have your password, until I have your username. There's a parental control with some of the apps, and some don't have it, where they can't create an account without a parent. Because that is your danger. Just shooting you straight. Your danger is that you go ahead and allow them to use Instagram, and they've got the family Instagram account, and then they've got their friend Instagram account. You have to guard against that. And if you find out that your kid has a Finsta, as they like to say, or a fake Instagram or anything like that, then you have to apply the consequence. They either didn't know or they didn't care. And if they lied to you about it, they didn't care. They need a consequence for that. So parental controls, they exist. I know it can be kind of overwhelming because you're like, I don't want to lock myself out of something. Fair enough. But you're an adult, we can get you back in. Get you back in. I'm gonna look and see what I got next. Okay, so we talked to think about what makes sense. How can we balance this out? They want to feel connected to their friends, but I want to still have a lot of control over what that looks like. So you've got to think about that. It's going to take time. I can't tell you how that lands for your family. But it's probably not all or nothing. If you go wide open, they're gonna get somewhere that can be pretty hard to get out of. If you go nothing at all, then you're kind of incentivizing them to lie about it. You've got to find a balance that works for your family. If you have young children, and this is you're not even close to phone time, let me tell you what I need for you to start doing start or continue doing every single day. Say what you mean what you say. Do not let your children backtalk you, do not let them lie to you, and give them a consequence for what they do. Build their confidence by giving them responsibility. We're going to flip back around to responsibility. You have to set these ground rules with your children when they are young. The idea that they are expected to have a certain amount of responsibility as a citizen of your family before they get freedom. Responsibility first, then freedom. Now, I am older than most of you. That was not a problem for our parents. Not one problem. You'll need to be able to clean the house, do the laundry, mow the yard, get up on the roof and get those leaves out of the gutter before we even think about letting you have a car. There was just never a question. You either proved you could do it or you didn't do it. We kind of flipped that a little bit. We've kind of done this thing as a society, maybe not you guys, we've kind of done this thing where we see the potential in the child and we reward the potential before they've actually shown us that they can do that. They haven't demonstrated it. I see that they're a good person. Right. Are they a good person that picks up their room? Are they a good person that helps around the house? Are they a good person that speaks to you respectfully? There's no doubt in my mind they're a good person. My goodness gracious. That doesn't mean they deserve a computer or a phone. Being a good person doesn't mean they're a responsible person yet. Okay, and also, we'll move back. You don't have to go back. When we talk about those steps that you were taking, trust me when I say, even though at first it's really scary and you don't know what you're doing, you feel like you don't know what you're doing, you have to look it up. Once you can do what they can do, or even some of what they can do, you're going to feel more confident. And a little bit, they're on notice now. If you don't have teenagers yet, they have to be on notice then. Be aware. Okay, so this one here is going to be whoosh, the icky part, if you will, because I think there's a lot that we're not aware of because we don't want to be aware of it, and because we are not people who would hurt people. Therefore, we don't think like that. Really quickly, when I know you guys do virtues training down here, right? Yes? Virtues training is. So we do it also. And whenever I'm talking to people, and I always say to them, I say, I really like virtues because if you don't think that way, you don't think about it. If you would never hurt children, you don't think that way. So one day I'm in college at K-State. Anyway, and we're at lunch one day, and there's been a terrible crime committed in New York. And we're watching it on the TV back then. Anyway, we're watching it on TV, and I've got my broccoli with ranch on it, and this is me. And I'm like, you should never leave a primary crime scene. And it was crickets at that table. Crickets. Because that was the first time I realized, for people who, you guys don't know me, but my dad was a federal agent. We had different kinds of conversations at our house because of what he did. And people were, it was like crickets. People were looking at me like, and that's when I first realized, not everybody did that at their house. See, I was not incredibly perceptive. I think this is the same way. You would not hurt children, so you don't think like somebody who would hurt children. It's creepy out there, everybody. Again, I'm not saying no. As a matter of fact, I'm for technology because I am a firm believer that children can navigate what we help them navigate. What I'm not a believer in is that us as parents thinking they're just going to be fine. This is not like Gen X being out until the streetlights came on. Okay, this is more than that. What's next? Let me see. Oh yeah. How much tech are you using? A lot. TV, cell phone, laptop, tablets, iPads, smartwatches, gaming systems, all of them access the internet. My new favorite one as a principal is the watch. It's the watch. I got a lot of parents who tell me the child needs their smartwatch. And at our school, the rule is if you must bring your phone to school because you must bring your phone to school, it has to be off and in your book bag. And parents are like, oh, I need for it to be on. So that if I need to talk to them, even though it's in their book bag, then that I can still talk to them on their watch. And then I look at them and I say things like this to them as parents. You know, if you can text them, so can everybody else, right? And they look at me like I'm a genius, you guys. Like, oh my gosh, I what? Well, and I look at them like, what? What are we doing right now? And then these are the words I say to them, and you can use these with your own kids. I mean, if you write one thing down, then I probably did. This is why I say to parents, ultimately, you must decide if your child can attend Mater Dei and follow our rules. And that's what I say to my kids. Ultimately, you must decide if you can follow the rules we've set. If you cannot, we're going to take it away. Because you decided you couldn't follow the rules. See, that puts it all back on them. See, I'm shifting the monkey right back. That's what I'm talking about right there. They are on the internet a lot. I was never a gamer, but I think you have to watch these. You guys, I think you have to. And not just the first-person shooter, which is a weird thing to let your child do, by the way, but not just that. But the way they talk to each other and who's on it with them. Because generally, I'll use you guys as my, generally, it's these four people that we all know each other, because they're right here by me. But what we didn't know is that this guy right here invited that table there, who, as a parent, I don't know any of them. And they're on. And then your child will say to you something like this, because I love kids. You just don't even want me to have friends. Right, that's exactly right. I don't want you to have friends, okay? That's what I was hoping, that you would never have friends. When they say something like that and you find yourself actually getting ready to have a discussion about how you really do want them to have friends, stop that. Stop that right now. And just go, ultimately, Timmy, you must decide if you can play with this gaming system with the rules that Mommy and Daddy gave you, or if I need to give that to somebody else. Never engage them in whatever this thing is over here they're doing. Keep it right here on the photos. Right here, right here, right here. We're going to talk about the others as we come up. Feet to the fire. Darn right. Darn right, everybody. Are you guys doing okay? Yeah, good. It's good. Privileges are earned. It is not your job as parent to be just doling out the privileges. Nope. Privileges are earned. And then we'll give them out. And then the flip side of earned is, and they can disappear. Sometimes, I know our kids, they didn't come. That's not them. Our children didn't come. We didn't invite them. That's why they didn't come. But they'll be glad to know that we're using, that we, because that's going to be we when I tell the story, are using them as fodder. But they knew, especially that last one knew. I'd look at her and she'd do something, I'd look at her and I would say, I'm a magician. I didn't even have to finish. I'm a magician, I'll make your freedom disappear. Is how that line went at our house, right? And she's like, all I had to do, I'm a magician. And she's like, and then there was an eye roll, a dramatic exit from the room, and probably a door slam 15 seconds later, but I didn't care because, get out of here. I was like, no, I don't care. I totally love my kids, okay? I even love my students, and I've said it to them too. Somebody better pick that up, or I'm going to be a magician, and I'll make your recess disappear, okay? And it's like everybody will pick it up. Okay, anyway. Privacy. No. No, 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 no. No. Your job as parent really boils down to two things. Seriously. Bring them closer to Jesus every single day. And get them to 18 with lots of choices. That's it. That's it. This parenting thing, it's way simpler. than we're making it out to be. It's just that it's hard. It's not complex though. It's simple. There's no privacy. There's no privacy. Honestly, I don't want to be like all old school with everybody, but at my house, when I was growing up, not that I ever had any boyfriends before you, Mr. Hillebert. I mean, I didn't, but if I had had any, the rule at my house would have been 100% you're staying right here in this living room and the kitchen. Living room, kitchen, living room. There is no way that my mom or my dad would have allowed me to have a boy in my bedroom. If your child has a TV, a gaming system, and their phone, and their computer in their bedroom, they got lots of people in their bedroom that you don't know about. So keep the door open. If you're not going to take them out, and again, I'm not tech averse, I just think that some of the things that we just can't swing to, you have access to everything on the internet and I won't look at it. That's a mistake. Privacy comes with maturity. And in that order. Maturity, then privacy. And you just have, I think you just have to accept those things, not just for tech, for your kids. This is the way it's going to be. Ultimately, Timmy, you must decide. If you can live by the rules that Mommy and Daddy have said and earn these privileges. Oh, that's good too. Let's talk about a couple things. Again, I'm not really into scared straight on people or anything like that, but children aren't supposed to be on social media until they're 13. It's weird to me that parents fudge this for them. It's weird to me because, like, nobody goes and throws a fit when the DMV tells you they have to be 16 to drive by themselves. I mean, I know they can, 14 they can get the permit, and 15 they can do this. I get it. I know what the graduated driver's license is. Nobody throws a fit about that. And it wouldn't matter if you did. Social media is for 13 and older. When you let your child have social media early, because they'll never have friends, and they'll be a social pariah, so you cave and you let them have it early, two things, I hope it's not three, but we'll go, two things are definitely happening. One, you're telling them rules don't apply to you. You're above rules. Okay, well then you can't speak out of both sides of your mouth. If they're above Instagram's rules, then they're above your rules. You can't speak out of both sides of your mouth. Also, technically, it's just a technicality, but when you know that you let your child have social media early, and heaven forbid they do something dangerous or stupid or mean online, you're liable for that. Because a reasonable parent would monitor their child. That's just true. That's just true. We had a student at Mater Dei, not one of my kids, so I won't use her name. Okay, but anyway, she had a YouTube channel. I think she did some drawings, right? Some anime drawings kind of thing. Yeah, anyway, it's great. Great. But she got on early, so she lied about her age. But then, classic kid, when she actually turned 13, went ahead and went to change it. Because she had a big following. In fact, they were going to monetize that site right up until the time they found out that she should have been on a YouTube Kids site, and she was on a YouTube actual site. And they shut her down. And that's not the worst part in my mind. They shut her down and they kept all of her stuff. Everything that she had published, they just kept it. That's a tough lesson to learn. I mean, I'm grateful that she learned it at 13, but it's still a tough lesson to learn. And again, just going back with that feet to the fire, it's responsibility before freedom. Every time. Every single time. What do we got next? Yeah, monitor. Let's go with the easy one first. I'm going to say it's the easy one because it's the one that I think tonight you could do. I know it's getting late, but I think you could do it. I'm going to be quick. I know. I'm watching my time, Father Borkenhagen. I know. Go to the next one. The first one is this, TV. We're already dropping the ball on TV. Again, not asking for a show of hands or anything like that, and my life probably would have been different if I didn't live with this guy. He's a tech guru. So we at our house, it doesn't matter whether it's the streaming services or your cable or satellite provider, whichever one you're still doing. So if you're using streaming services and you've got one account, usually it's dad's, usually it's dad's account that comes up, and everybody can get on it, let's change that. Let's change that. Okay? By you changing that, you're going to put your kids on notice that they are not you. So, and then you have a conversation about which channels you're going to allow them to have. Which services you're going to allow them to have. I cannot, yeah. When we get on the TV, my login isn't your login. If you have cable and satellite still, you don't do the streaming services, totally fine. All cable and satellite providers since the year 2000, it's not new. Since the year 2000, have had parental controls. You can either block your children based on channel, or you can block them based on that rating thing that comes up. You can say, my kids can't see anything that has this one or this one or this one. They can only see these guys when they're logged in. But I honestly think, the reason I say the TV is because it's probably the least used, it's probably the most user-friendly. And all I'm saying is it just sets you up right now as sending a message to your children. A loving message. What is for me is not for you. They are not just small adults. We know this to be true. So, starting with TV, well actually, I kind of lied to you, which I feel bad about, but I guess I would start with different. I changed the Wi-Fi password at my house tonight. That's what I would do. I would change the Wi-Fi password and say, or maybe not tonight if you don't have time to deal with it tonight. You can do it tomorrow. You can do it this weekend. Do it over Thanksgiving break, whatever works for you. I'd sit down and say, I'm changing the Wi-Fi password because what we're doing right now is full stop, and then we as a family are going to decide what makes sense for us. What supports what we're trying to do. So I do the Wi-Fi first, and I change it fairly regularly, and for heaven's sakes, don't make it something they can figure out. They know you. They know your favorite food, they know your favorite pet, they know what street you lived on when you were a child, they know you. Do not use those. Use something they do not know. Cell phones, the hardest one, right? It's got to be the hardest one. It's got to be the cell phone. You have to ratchet that down. You got to shut that down. So, first thing I do is your cell phone does have a timer. Your carrier will be able to help you with this. You can take different phones on your plan and be like, this one will only work from this time to this time. This one will only work from this. Now, if I don't know, like I said, at my school, they're not allowed to use phones during the day or anything like that. I don't know what the rule is here. Some people are like, I'm going to go ahead and turn the phone on from, I don't know, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. I'm just making those things up. Well, I just don't get that. They can't use it at school. There's no reason for that thing to come on until 3:30 or whatever time they get out of school. I know people say, parents, I get it. Parents are like, sometimes parents will say this to me. I know, but what if something terrible happens? All I can tell you is, first of all, as an administrator, every day, we hear you. But the reality is this. Your student won't know what to do with their phone in an emergency. Videoing it is not helpful. Calling you, also, all love and respect, not helpful. Not helpful. So I hear your argument. I'm a parent too. I run code drills, so I get it. I'm just telling you the argument doesn't really hold a lot of water, while at the same time telling you, I understand your gut level fear. I just don't think giving your kid a phone is helpful. You gotta spot check their text messages, or their DMs, or whatever they're using. A lot of them use Snap, their Be Real, all the stuff. You gotta check it. Yes, you will get stupider as you check it. You will actually lose brain cells. You will have started out with this IQ, and over time, it's going to go away. It's true. I'm not going to lie. You have to. You have to check for content. It's trust, then verify, right, everybody? Trust, and then verify. We trust them, and we're still going to check. And if they know, oh, they'll tell their friends. I know. My kids are like, do not cuss in these because my mom is reading home. And I'm probably their principal. So they're like, do not cuss. She's reading them. Okay, so ensure that all social media accounts are known to you. This is huge right here because this is where the creepers are. They're on social media. They use the very same tactics they would use if they were with your child in person. Your child does something like this. Let's just my mom hates me. My mom hates me. Lots of people weigh in. One of these 800 people that you don't know that's following your child has now made a note. Made a note. There's a little tension between mom and Doug. Okay. Now they're not going to do anything that night. They're not going to do anything like that. They're just watching. And every once in a while, they're sharing because they're posing as a 16-year-old girl. They're sharing how they also, oh, you know, my mom's really been on my case lately. Oh, look, now we have a connection. And they're going to try to drive that wedge. The first wedge is always the hardest. It's when they want to drive it the most. Drive the wedge between the child and their parents. And then drive the wedge between the child and the rest of their friends. You're going to isolate the child to where they think that me, the 55-year-old woman posing as a 16-year-old, is the only person that cares about them, the only person that understands them. And then we're going to make plans to meet. Doesn't happen overnight. It's not somebody who's creepy. I mean, actually, they're totally creepy. They don't present as creepy. We've trained our kids to look for that. If you're going to let them on social media, then you are making a commitment to their social media. And then you got to search their pictures. You just have to. Pull them up. Search the pictures. You have to. If you start seeing people you don't know, you have to ask a question. Who is this? This is Timmy. He goes to a different school. I'm sorry. What? Well, how'd you get a picture, Tim? Oh, because we're talking. That's the thing. It's not dating or anything. You're talking now. We're talking. No, you're not. Not until Timmy. Not until I know Timmy. You have to check the cell phone. And there's nothing, I wish I could tell you, you could just run a cool chat GPT thing on it, but you can't. Get the cell phone in your hand, have them stand right over your shoulder. Let's look together. Mommy will drive. Let's look together through it. Then you just have to. I wish there was a shortcut. Trust me, I wish there was a shortcut on that. Mind numbing. Okay, anyway. The family computer. Back in the day when we first started, we had rules on the family computer. The family computer is your answer now. Because it goes in a place where we can all be. It has everywhere. You can come right into the settings and it has parental controls on the settings. The family computer is the answer. When your child, when your child makes a bad choice, hopefully it's just one, and you have to enact the consequence, the family computer is your saving grace. This is where you're going to be now. Because I've got this. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, parent to parent, I almost forgot to include something in this right now. If you have to take your child's phone and they won't give you the phone, right? Because sometimes they do things like that. Yeah, right, okay. Well, first of all, that's a whole different conversation, right? I mean, they're going to give you that phone. But all you have to do is this. Simply take the charger and watch their little eyes fill with tears as they realize they can't charge that thing. You gotta hide all the chargers. You gotta hide the chargers, don't let them take it to school. But the family computer becomes your answer. It's where, if they gotta do homework, there's always homework. It's always homework and research they've gotta do, they need a computer for. Right, okay. Anyway, but this is it. They can still access what they need for homework, or they can still, if they're working on a Google Doc with a friend or whatever, what have you, they can still get it. The family computer is the answer when you have to enact the consequence and they can't have something. Social media. Checks and balances on the social media is up next. Okay. Establish what is acceptable in your home. I grabbed the ones. I gotta be honest, I don't even know what some of them are, you guys. I don't know. Oh, what's that one? I don't know either. But I know the rest of them, and I feel really good about that. But I know the rest of them. I don't know what the little people are up in the corner, so I don't have that one. But these are common social media. I would say on kids, TikTok is probably, TikTok, Snap, Instagram are some of their favorites. I don't think they tweet very much. I don't think they use Facebook very much. They're on YouTube a ton. They tend to have Pinterest, but mostly girls, and mostly to make the boards, like what they went for their prom dresses and all that stuff and things like that. So I think, and I really don't think that kids use a ton of LinkedIn, but you know, maybe future business entrepreneurs, maybe, I don't know. You have to establish what's acceptable in your home, meaning which ones you're going to allow, which ones you're not going to allow. You have to require that your child add you as a friend, a follower, or whatever, or what have you, and that you have their password. So not only are you going to be following them, you could be them. I know, nobody would want to, but you could be them. If they won't do it, take it away. Take it, if they're not open to that, then they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing. I'm not saying it's super creepy or it's dangerous. They're lying. We don't let them lie to our faces without consequence. No. Get in the driver's seat and cruise through it. Check their recent posts, and then this one here. Check the friend list. Who are these people? They're always going to say something like this. Now that's Timmy. He goes to a different school. Which school? A different one? Yeah, I know. That's what he just said, because I don't know him. So it must be a different school. Where is the different school? Does the different school have a name? Did he tell you what it is? Because if you don't know them, then tell them to get off. Your kids will not like that. Again, ultimately, they must decide if they can be on social media living under your rules. If they can't, it's okay. You're not going to be on social media. I mean, that's it. That's it. Parent to-do list 2.0. Spots, okay, we've kind of tried to put a halt to everything, and then a restart. Because you gotta have a new starting place. You gotta have a new starting place. You gotta stop and start. We're gonna spot check our messages for content. Hey, look, if you see something that you would want to know as a parent, this is hard. This one's hard. What if I see that my kid's friend, Susie, is drinking? She's making bad choices. Then ask yourself this. Just stop and ask yourself. What if somebody was looking at their kid's Instagram and saw that your child was drinking? What would you want that parent to do? Because that's what you're going to do. Even though people are like, oh my gosh, that's so hard. Yes. Yes. They might get mad at me. Yes. If your child were making a dangerous decision, even though you don't want that, You don't really want to hear about it. You do though, right? I'm not going to tell me anything, but you do. You want to know. And can you live with yourself one day? I mean, I'm all Catholic all the time. When you stand before the Lord and they say, hey, he says, hey, remember that time that Susie was making bad choices? And you knew she was making bad choices? And you let your fear of retribution stop you from doing what you know is right? Hey, let's make that a conversation we don't have to have. Let's do that. Run the history on your computer. Run it. And then this one here, look at me. Look at me. Somebody saying, do what I say and not what I do. Set a good example. Tell me that you're attached to your phone without telling me you're attached to your phone. It's me right here. I cannot stand, going back to my dad being, I can't stand to have my hands full of anything. I cannot stand that. I have to be able to have my hands free. Mostly I talk with my hands. But anyway, I have to have them free. So that phone is with me all the time for work. Except that, what about when I'm not working? Still with me. I'm going to share something with you. We hardly even know each other, you guys. 10 years ago, if you had met me, I would have been the person you knew who was farthest on Candy Crush. That's right. That's right. Waited every Wednesday for the new levels to come out, right? So that by Thursday I would have to wait till the next Wednesday for the new levels to come out. Don't ask me to do things on Wednesday. I was busy with Candy Crush, right? The new levels came out. Anyway, point is this. I had to quit that cold turkey. Like, I cannot have games on my phone, or I will play them until I have beaten that game into submission. I kid you not, I will just not, I just will not. So I have to only have things like Wordle that I can only do once. And then they tell me I can't do it anymore until tomorrow. And then I'm like, okay. Anyway, so I don't set a good example. I'm working on it. We all have to work on it. So I wish I was up here telling you I have got this nailed, but I don't. That's pretty much attached all the time. Okay, and then the final question before I let you ask me questions, and please somebody don't say, boy, I thought this was going to be a whole different talk. What a letdown. Don't say that. Okay, anyway, what if I find something objectionable? Okay, here's where it is. Here's where it is. The longest relationship you have with your children will be, God willing, when they're adults. They're in and out of childhood in about, 25 years now, they say, frontal lobe, frontal cortex, all handled. God willing, you'll have so many more years in an adult relationship. Your job, I know I'm over, I'm so sorry. Your job is to bring them closer to Jesus, get them to 18 with lots of choices, and a nice third one, like the perk, third one. Let's create an adult that you enjoy spending time with, respect, and admire. So, if you see something objectionable, mercy, you cannot go in there guns a-blazing. You have to be like, hey, I saw this, tell me more. Help me understand what that's about. Because this is it. If you have decided, if you have made the decision as a parent, and you know your kids better than I do, if you've made the decision that they're ready to have access to the internet and the things on the internet, that you have said, there's a level of maturity that I think you have. And that means you got to go to them with your concern in a straightforward, honest manner. At our house, that gets done by Sean, okay? Because I'm definitely going to be like, what is happening right here? You get over here, and so anyway, so Sean handles that. But I've watched him do it, and it's really good. And so he generally says, "Tell me more. I want to know." Now this second part, I'm super good at applying the consequences that we established. There will come a time in your life, if you have children, especially, I'm gonna say especially girls, but boys aren't exempt. There'll come a time in your life if you have children where you don't recognize them. If you would like to recognize them, just take their phone for 2 weeks. You'll have your child back. And then you have to, if you find something objectionable, in addition to the consequence is not what makes it right. And when they make it right, that's not the consequence. There's a consequence for them breaking your rule, and then restorative justice tells us they have to make it right. You owe somebody an apology. You have trust to rebuild. Get started. I think that's all I have. Oh, we're going to have such a good conversation on the way back home. It takes us 2 hours to get there, you guys. What? Okay, first of all, thank you for your time. Second of all, what didn't I answer that I need to answer right now? I know you got to go. I know I went over. I'm so sorry, William working again. I went over. He should have known. He should have known. Tell me what do you have questions? Is there anything I can answer for you? Yes?
You were mentioning something about tech rewiring children's brains. You're talking about slapping it out of the hand of
That's right.
What were you referring to?
Okay, I would want to be clear. I have not slapped it out of the hands of anybody, okay? Contrary to what you might have heard. Hey, tech's rewiring their brains. Here's the deal. There's an algorithm that feeds them exactly what they have. Tech is exactly like dopamine in their brain. Lights it up just the same as if they were taking a drug. I know that when I found myself, I'm a fast talker, I'm a fast reader. And when I found myself opting to play games instead of read, because it's harder, you've got to imagine on your own instead of having it fed to you. That's what's happening to our kids. We're seeing reading scores that are declining. I know you guys are in great school, so I'm not saying that's happening here. I'm talking about it in general, but the reality is this. If they cannot read, they cannot imagine. They will not be able to solve the problems that they will face because they don't know how to problem solve. We see that. We see we have a makerspace, and we've had a makerspace for 12 years at our school. If you ever come to Topeka, you come see me. We'll let you play in the makerspace for a little while because it's a ton of fun. We see kids that can't glue and can't cut because they're just used to consuming instead of creating. We have to stop that. And that doesn't mean that tech can't be good for ways to find things. We got to stop the consuming. I mean, I know they're going to consume, but we got to make it more than consume. And we're seeing it. As teachers, they'll tell you they can see it. They don't have stamina for reading anymore. They don't have stamina for hard math problems anymore. That cannot be okay. And we're the adults. And the last thing we want is for them to come to us one day. We asked our kids, what are things you wish we had done differently? Our last two did say they wish we held the phone a little longer. We had the first two, they're still doing this. A, B, B, B. It's totally good. And then the last two came up. We had 2 in 3 years, and there was a 5-year gap, and then the last 2 in 2 years. And it was radically different. Radically different, the experiences they had on technology, just with everything that changed. So when your child comes to you with something like this, and they will, because I love kids, they'll find one thing on the internet that talks about why social media or internet in general is really good. It'll be something. And then all you have to say to them is, and I can go find 50. Every one study you bring me that says how great it is, I can find 50 that tell you how lonely we are, how not connected we are. And again, not technology averse, because I do think they are going to have to learn how to find things on the internet, because libraries are literally giving books away. So they're not going to be able to go use the card catalog, which how fun was that? But they're not going to be able to do that anymore. They're going to have to be able to find things. They're going to have to be able to work. When they work in an office, they are going to have to be able to navigate every office's system. So not introducing them is probably not the best way. It's our job to make them digital citizens. Thank you for bringing me back to that. Yes?
You have kids at your school that their parents, they just don't allow them on social media, and you see a difference with them versus the kids that are on it.
I do have kids at my school that are not allowed social media. And there's a huge difference. I mean, you know who I'm thinking of. A family that walks 3 miles every day because I see them, because they walk by my house, we have to live close to them. They don't let their kids have a phone at all. Now, they solved it by not letting them have a phone. Girls will be worse than boys about telling you that they're, you know, socially left out. I still think that's true, though. I think that, and again, I'm not saying no to a phone ever, and I've got to tell you this. I was surprised when my last 2 went to high school that the coaches for their sports and stuff used a ton of social media directly with the kids. And I know they children, not like in a creepy way, but I know they were just like, you know, hey, practice has been moved to the gym because it's raining outside or something like that, so we can't run track outside. And I just thought to myself, that's weird. I thought that was weird, you know, but I guess that's how they communicate now. But I do think that if you can delay it, you should. I mean, there's really no reason for them to have one early. So I hate to put an age on it, because somebody will be like wanting to argue with me about their 12-and-a-half-year-old or something like that. But I don't think so. Unless, and I understand that they go places and, you know, you're like, what if the practice ends early and they need me to pick them up? I mean, I hear that, but I think there are other ways to solve that. Besides giving them a phone. And if you're going to give them a phone, don't give them a smartphone. I mean, if the argument that you're thinking in your head or that they're making is, I will be left at practice unattended, I will be kidnapped and die. That was what will happen. That's the only thing that could happen. Even though practice got over 5 minutes early and you were actually waiting in the parking lot anyway, I'm pretty sure that's what will happen. And that's what they'll tell you will happen, because maybe they watched, I don't know, one of those Criminal Minds kinds of shows or something like that. I don't really know. It isn't what's going to happen. It is. Plus, you know yourself. I mean, that's what I would say too. You as a parent, are you susceptible? Do they tug your heartstrings when they say those things? If so, just don't do it. Just don't do it. If it's hard for you to say no and see them sad, they're not really sad, they're just putting that on. But it's hard for you, don't do it. Don't do it. But I do think I would delay it. And if I would delay it till high school. If we had to do it all over again, I'd delay it till they were driving their own car. Because we made them drive heaps. And they might have actually needed us to come get them. So, and stick shift for the girls, that's right. They could have been dead. Not them. The car could have been dead somewhere, as I say. So fair enough for them. If we had to do it all over again, we'd have waited.
And they were okay with it. They're the ones that suggested it. Probably would have been, junior year would have probably been a better time to get it in the 7th grade. I was shocked that both of them, oh yeah, absolutely, because of this.
Right. We have to give, in full disclosure, our son, he's 29 right now, but if you could see our son, we almost brought him, he teaches at Hayden Catholic High School, teaches the theology, we're super proud of him, but if you could see Gabe, you would be like, I think he's 74. Yes, he's always been a 74-year-old man. And Father Borken's back there like, no, Gabe is a 74-year-old. I'm 100, you guys, that's what I'm saying, 100 years old. Because he is so, Gabe, I thought he was going to weep when we got him his phone, he had a BlackBerry. And he kept that thing until the little ball thing wouldn't work anymore. And that's just Gabe. He's old school, he doesn't want to learn anything new. So anyway, he was never hard, Darian was easy, but the other two just had, it was just a lot more. And we would have waited. We would have waited. Thank you, that was a great question, we would. And kids who don't have it, they just don't have it. I mean, you know, I think they fuss about it at first, and then they're like, I just don't have it. The argument, if the parents aren't moving, then I'm not going to waste any more time on it. Anything else? You guys have been amazing. I hope that this has begun to meet any of your needs. If it has not, that it's not reaffirmed all the great things that I know you're doing as parents, then I apologize, and please, please, please know, I know you're doing it. I also know that sometimes it helps to hear somebody you don't know from somewhere you've never been tell you that you're doing it right and that it's okay to say no if you have to get to that situation. So, thank you for your time.